Yeah,
And you can hear me now?
yeah.
Yes, I actually pressed that button. So, Dr. Saggu, welcome.
Yes, thank you, Nick. Thank you.
Right. So what's happening in the medical world right now with this coronavirus? Are you doing any bariatric surgeries?
Not right now. We are not doing the bariatric surgeries, but yes, we are doing some emergency surgeries, and we are following some guidelines while doing the surgeries. Like, I mean, there are the many phases where we have divided the patients into some phases. So
Hmm.
you can say the first phase is the pre-hospital patients. So when we have to consult the patients, and we are basically consulting through the telemedicine only, we are not physically consulting the patients. And there are some norms which has been made by our societies, because we are running a lot of societies like Obesity Society of India. There is the International Federation of Obesity and Metabolic Surgery, if so. And according to the guidelines, basically we are screening the patient while doing the telemedicine.
Hmm.
So number one, there are basically 5 or 6 parameters by which we are screening the patient. Number one, there should not be symptoms of the COVID. Number two, there should not be contact history with the COVID patient. And number three is there should not be any travel history in the past one month. And number four, the patient should be in quarantine for at least 14 days. And number five is patient should be following the social distancing guidelines.
Hmm. Yeah.
Now, we ask the patient, yeah.
Yeah. Do you see telemedicine actually increasing now because of the coronavirus?
Yeah, so now I did around 6 consultations today through the telemedicine.
Hmm.
So basically, the telemedicine is become beneficial for us without coming in contact with the patient, because we don't know, even the asymptomatic COVID patients, they're increasing now. So we are not coming in contact with the patient, and we are consulting the patient by just taking the history, and by seeing just the reports only. And for the physical examination, we are calling the patient in the hospital. But if you consult 100 patients, I think you require only 20 or 25 patients to be there in the hospital. At least you are downgrading the crowding of the hospital. You're downgrading the chances of coming in contact with the COVID patients.
Hmm. So what do you do when you're consulting them as a bariatric surgeon? What sort of consultation can you do on the internet that makes a difference?
So basically, the consultation starts with our history. We start with the history, that the personal history. We ask about the symptoms of the patients and the problem of the patients. This may be a tiredness, this may be increasing weight, and this may be a diabetic history, this may be hypertensive history, and history of any other comorbid condition. There may be history of the sleep also, history of the stress also, and other problems. Maybe it may be the backache, it may be the knee problems, and some others, right? Then we take any family history, because in the obesity there is always a family history.
Right.
So because the obesity is running in the family, because nobody is running in the family. So
Hmm.
so that is why we are getting so many patients in one family.
Hmm. Right, because they
So
never go
so
for a walk.
yeah, because this is a modern lifestyle which we have
Right.
adapted to. We are not doing any physical activities. We are taking everything by sitting. We are not eating mindfully. Our mind is at the screen, and we are eating, and we don't know how much we have eaten.
Hmm.
So we have not the exact idea of the portion size. We don't have exact idea of the contents what we are eating. So there is always, the family history is also very, very important when we do the consultation for the bariatric.
Hmm. Right,
Then
because
we take a history. Yeah,
yeah, go on.
yeah,
Okay, you take history
yeah.
first, then what do you do next after you get the family history?
So the next history is, we take a history of any weight loss history. Within the past, the patient has done had attempted any opportunities, or had made efforts to lose weight, maybe by dieting or by exercising or anything. Because by this history, you will come to know that if the patient has lost weight by dieting or exercising, and once he or she has lost the weight and then regained the weight, there may be failure of the diet, or there may be failure of the exercise. So this will exactly tell you the nature of the patient and the compliance of the patient, whether
Mhm.
the patient is compliant or patient is non-compliant.
Mhm. Do you think
Yeah.
telemedicine will, because of everybody now is getting conditioned to using the internet, do you think telemedicine will actually start increasing to negate having people come in the office? Because when I go see my physician, I spend, I think, half my time filling out paperwork. In other
Yeah,
words,
yeah, yeah. So
you know,
when you have screened already on the internet, and when you enter your hospital, number one, you will be very much recognize your physician.
right?
You have a bonding with your physician,
Hmm.
so you don't have to waste the time to make a bonding with your physician, and you don't have to waste your time to tell your history. So
Right.
everything is there in place, and now the other paperwork can start, and the physician can directly start your physical examination,
Yeah.
and they can see you further. Yeah,
Yeah, but I also think it's more efficient because then you don't have to get in a car here. At least for me, I got to get in a car. I have to drive because I live in the boonies, half an
yeah,
hour or an hour to get to my physician's place. Drive an hour back. Spend. I mean, it's a half a day. Spend
yeah.
half the time filling out paperwork and going through all this stuff. The telemedicine
Yes, yes,
seems to be more efficient because you just dial up on the internet, and
yeah,
there's even a computer calendar right now. I think it's
yeah,
Calendly that we use that you can have people just fill out and have their appointments already done in advance.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's
So
Calendar.
yeah, even in some other fields also, the internet has come up with a lot of benefits. Like you have a meeting schedule and you need to go somewhere. So the last week we had a meeting because we have an obesity surgery society of India. So
Hmm.
we usually have an annual meeting. That is not an annual, that's a quarterly meeting. So we do meet 4 times a year.
Hmm.
So that may be the another places, some other provinces also. So you have to fly to other provinces for that. And
Yeah,
now what we did,
yeah,
we had just meeting online. And
right.
I mean, you will be surprised, there was no cost involved. There is no cost, and you save lot of time. You're doing your daily routine here. You are fulfilling your responsibility at home. You're fulfilling your responsibility at your professional place, and even then you are attending your meeting and solving a lot of problems.
Yeah, yeah. It's just to me, it's a lot more efficient to
Yeah,
run things through the internet. And when I was working with AnKit on the IBM TV project, what we found out is that um, the internet has become so well that we can hear you, see you just as well as
yeah,
if you were in the United States.
yeah,
And 20 years ago, that wasn't the case, but today, I mean,
yeah,
it's much more efficient. I would like to go out and see AnKit physically, but man, it's a 20-hour flight. I've already checked. I mean, I'm going, no matter how you're doing it,
yeah.
spending all day in an airplane and all day coming out, 20 hours in the air. We're in the internet, you just press the button and boom, you're there. So to me, it seems to be a much more efficient way. Now, bariatric surgery
Yes, I
here in,
think
yeah, go.
I'd like to interrupt, and I think Vishal needs to leave. So I think maybe he'll sing one more song before he
Oh, yeah,
moves.
okay, yeah. Vishal, if you can do one more song, because then Ankit's brilliant. He cuts these little songs out, puts them on the internet, spreads them to his 1.3 billion people followers. So the thing is, yeah, take a break.
ओके अब मुझे एक सवाल भी आपसे पूछना है. कैन यू हियर मी? हेलो, कैन यू हियर मी?
Yes, we
Yes,
can.
everyone.
You're good. We can hear you. If we can't hear you, we'll beam back in. I'm just giving you the stage. That's all.
Yes, Vishal, you want
Okay,
to ask question?
Dr. Saab, I just wanted to ask you one thing. That it is also said that one can have coronavirus still, if he doesn't have the symptoms as well, but he still can have coronavirus.
Yes, yes, Vishal, it's true. Because when we see the scenario of the patients, around 80% patients they are having mild symptoms or no symptoms. Even the asymptomatic patients they can have a coronavirus because this virus is lethal, but this virus is lethal to only few of the
Okay.
patients. They are lethal to the patients who have a chronic disease. They are lethal to the patients who have a very very low immunity. If like you, me, I mean the patients who having a very good immunity, the virus can come and can go, and you even didn't know that. So the virus will come and go. So
Exactly.
it means the asymptomatic patients they are more in some asymptomatic patient. And today, what happened with me? The one patient was posted for the emergency surgery for the obstructed hernia. So we have a guidelines that before performing any surgery, we need to get the COVID-19 test, and we should follow all the guidelines. And we did a COVID-19 test just for the screening before starting the surgery, and he came to be positive. He came positive. There was no symptom of COVID.
Okay.
So asymptomatic patients, they can be there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. And I'll just wrap up with one song. And it's a beautiful song. Again, like भगवान हमको शक्ति दे और इस वायरस को हम मात दे सकें. दूर अज्ञान के हो अंधेरे, तू हमें ज्ञान की रोशनी दे, हर बुराई से बचते रहे हम, जितनी भी दे भली जिंदगी दे, बैर होना किसी का किसी से, भावना मन में बदले की होना, हम चले नेक रास्ते पे हमसे, भूल कर भी कोई भूल होना, इतनी शक्ति हमें देना दाता, मन का विश्वास कमजोर होना, इतनी शक्ति हमें देना दाता, मन का विश्वास कमजोर होना. So I pray for every one of you, and please be safe, and please आप अपना ख्याल रखिएगा, अपने घर वालों का ख्याल रखिएगा. एंड आई विश कि हम सब लोग फिर से ऐसी जिंदगी एक बार हंसी खुशी फिर से रिज्यूम करें, फिर से हम लोग वैसी ही जिंदगी में वापस जल्दी चले जाएं. यही हमारी प्रार्थना होगी ऊपर वाले से. एंड थैंक यू सो मच वंस अगेन अंकित फॉर गेटिंग मी हियर. राकेश जी, थैंक यू सो मच. डॉक्टर साहब, थैंक्स अ लॉट.
Thank you, Vishal. Thank you so much for your lovely and motivating lines. Definitely, this is going to be beneficial for us. Yeah.
And Vishal, our viewers would like to.
And anytime, if you want to, listen to our songs.
They want to see more.
Anytime, if you want to listen to any of the songs, for sure. Promise, for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye. Yes, Dr. Saggu. So, how's the situation in India? After
situation, I think there are so many reasons for the smiling on our faces, because we are doing good, and at least we are able to contain the disease in India.
Yeah, well, what about since we have an obesity problem here in the United States, 40% of the people in America are either obese or morbidly obese. What is the thing that they can do to stop that? Because one of the problems also is that these people, when they get coronavirus and they suffer from hypertension, they have diabetes, they end up passing away at a much higher rate. What can be done to slow this obesity epidemic down? Because it's an epidemic here that's just going unrecognized. What can people do?
Yeah, Nick, we were discussing that the reason for the death rate higher in the young people is the main risk factor is coming as an obesity. So there was one survey has been done, one study from United States. What they did, they did a survey, a prospective study, and they got some patients from, I think, 14 or 15 countries, and they evaluated the risk factor. And what they came to know, the results were that from age 18 to 49, 60% patients admitted in the hospital with COVID-19, they were obese.
Mm-hmm.
And we talk about from 50 to 65 years of the age range, around 51% patients were obese. Mm-hmm. And more than 65, around 41% was obese. but 70% patients were the hypertensive. So the obesity is coming as a big risk factor, you know, which increases the severe response of the COVID-19. So we are not talking about the normal response of the COVID-19 to the patients, but the severe response. So severe response, like a lot of complication, lung complication, other complication, the patients who require the ventilator, who require intensive care, and they are having a low oxygen saturation, they are coming from obesity. You know, obesity can give rise to diabetes, hypertension, and other so many conditions, some lung disease. Because of the obesity, your lung capacity is also not much. So you have a lower lung capacity. So if you have a lower lung capacity, then you are more prone to have a complication because of the COVID-19.
Right.
So my recommendation would be, if you are obese, you should take care of your obesity, and you should take care of all the condition associated. If you are diabetic, you should keep your diabetes under control. If you have hypertension, you have to keep your hypertension under control. If you have a lung disease, don't forget to take all the medication. If you have asthma, take your inhalers. At least you should keep your all the disease under control. If you will keep all the disease under control, your immunity can fight with the COVID-19. And if you have a COVID-19, that the severe response would not be there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, if you
here's the problem that I see over here, because they don't address, at least in the United States, the obesity epidemic. Because, and here's the reason why, Dr. Saggu, you're infringing on our rights to drink Coca-Cola. You're infringing on our rights to eat Pringles. Okay, not to say I don't like this stuff, but I'm just saying that one problem that we have here, and the reason why our obesity there's an epidemic and it's not being addressed in the media, is that it offends people to tell people that they're obese. What do you do with that?
Yeah. So, yeah, I won't be wrong if I would say that the obesity is definitely linked to diabetes, hypertension, other condition, and the obesity is linked to your poor diet.
Right.
You know, the reason for the obesity is having an ultra processed diet, and you know, the food industries have advertised it in this way that they manage to sell this ultra processed diet to all of us. Sure. They can provide this ultra processed diet to anywhere, anytime, anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So
yes.
we are also very much accessible to this diet, because this is easily available, maybe cheaper. Mm-hmm. These types of diet, they are cheaper also.
Sure.
Suppose we are going on the highway. And yes, everything you have.
Do you guys have these Pringles over there? Do you have?
Yeah, we have.
We
have Pringles. Yeah.
Okay. I mean,
yeah. Everything we have.
That's it's a bad idea. I mean, the thing is,
so
do you guys drink this stuff over there?
Yeah.
Everything we have.
See the calories?
Yeah.
I'll say with Dr. Saggu and you that in India there was an article I read that there's a sweet shop called Haldiram. Okay.
Yeah.
So that sweet shop, I mean, serves a lot of sweets. I mean, you name the sweet and they have it. Maybe 500 varieties of sweets and namkeens. Okay, Chip. Now within the 2 kilometer radius of that sweet shop, there are more diabetic doctors than other places.
Yes.
So
basically,
there's obesity now in India. Then is that what you're saying? Obesity.
Yeah, obesity in India. You know, earlier the India was known for the starvation.
Right.
So a lot of people they are being dying of starvation. But now, because of easy availability, because of the taste, everything, now these types of things, they're coming to less developing countries also. They're coming to Asian countries also. So now, you know, we have both the things. We have a starvation also in some places. We have obesity also. And our obesity is also increasing. It is coming up to 30% now. So don't worry. We are behind you, and definitely we are going to surpass you as well if this type of the obesity will continue.
Yeah, but this is not a statistic to surpass us on. It's like coronavirus. But what I see is that because they were going, well, there's a higher death rate in the United States among African Americans than there are non-African Americans. But part of the reason why is the obesity and the
Yes.
hypertension and the
Yes.
diabetes that exist. And part of the reason why of that is the food that's available. You know, like I say, I live in the rural South, and if you go up and down our streets, all there is fast food and fried food. Okay, and that's
fast, fried, and frozen also.
Fast, fried, and frozen. There you go, the 3 Fs.
Yeah.
And so what happens is that people become obese because the thing is, it's being pushed upon them through all the restaurants and the the food vendors. And if you want real food that's really cooked with there's one Indian restaurant here. I told Ankit there's one, okay, and it just recently moved in, but that's it. You know, the thing is, if you want good food, and he's, by the way, really good too, but the thing is, if you want good food, it's really difficult to find in the rural South. Now, here's what is not being addressed, and I think it's because the media doesn't want to address it. They don't address this problem at all. Because in 5 minutes from now, they're putting on a McDonald's commercial. I hope you guys don't have McDonald's over there. Okay. In other words, they're putting on a fast food commercial. And
you cannot control the big fishes. The food industry people, they're the big fishes.
Yeah,
and
right.
You know how much they are investing on this, on the marketing plans, and nobody can check that.
Sure.
So if this food processing companies, if the food companies, food industries will not address this problem, and they will not give us the option of the healthy food, right, I don't think that we can contain the obesity. We can contain the COVID, we cannot contain the obesity.
Yeah, right. We can train. Yeah, but see, obesity, we haven't looked at the data yet, but I have Ankit who can always find the data. I'm wondering how many people will die of hypertension, diabetes, and things that are created by obesity. In other words, does that actually kill more people than the coronavirus? You know? If we were to look at the data, it probably actually, you're going to pull the data. Do you have it, Ankit? I believe.
Of the data, but I'm not sure about the source. But what I'll try to share it. I mean, I'm not sure whether it's good or bad.
You're never sure of the quality of the data.
But you know what happened? I mean, during this lockdown, people who have been dying every day with accidents and with some murders and things like that, they are like zero. Mm-hmm. No accidents, no murders, nothing natural, anything like that. It's only coronavirus or natural death. So I think we are saving a lot of people because I think Dr. Saggu would agree that in India, maybe hundreds of people are dying due to accident every day.
Mm-hmm. Right.
If I talk about the New Delhi, the data says that we have 450 deaths per day because of the accidents. Yeah. Because of accident. I'm not talking about any diabetes. I'm not talking about the hypertension.
How many is it now? How many is it now?
So traffic pollution, air pollution, water pollution, noise pollution. These are 4 major killer of the countries. So I think we are escaped from all these 4 things in the COVID era. But ultimately, they are going to start again. We are going to pollute the nature again. We are going to increase the traffic, and we are going to have increased the deaths because of all these things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we need to build up.
I mean, I agree. I think right now that there's some benefits of COVID-19. No accidents in New Delhi. No murders, blue skies, clean air, all the benefits of COVID-19. But as soon as they say, okay, everybody back to work, here comes the pollution, here comes all the bad habits, we're not going to learn anything. But something that could be controlled is, obesity and diabetes and hypertension. But you have to bring that to the people's attention. Because unless they know about it. And what I see is that, at least in our media, we don't want to bring it to people's attention because there's a conflict of interest. The conflict is the advertiser comes in and it's McDonald's. Your advertiser comes in, it's a food processing plant. You see what I mean? In other words, your advertisers and the people that feed the media are the restaurant industry. I mean, they were going, hey, what are you doing talking about this stuff when there's a chain here called Bojangles, like no kidding, Bojangles, of all places, fried everything. And let me tell you something, Dr. Saggu, they're lined up in their cars now getting takeout of this fried food. I mean, super really bad food for you, lined up here in the South. And then they walk out and they weigh, not unusual to see people weigh 300 to 400 pounds. In other words, probably people shouldn't weigh that much. And so the thing is, it's a real problem. And there's no one leading the charge on obesity here and healthy food, except every now and then Dr. Yu will get in and say, hey, we got to have a healthy lifestyle. But most people, they don't discuss that. It's also, I think the other reason is you offend 40% of your audience, at least here in the United States. Oh, I'm offended. You're talking about me being overweight. You see what I mean? And they don't want to offend their audience that, hey, that's something you're talking about. Because also a lot of the people that watch television, what do they do all day? They eat Pringles and they watch television. And then they drink Coca-Cola. By the way, a good sponsor of television, by the way, good sponsor. And they watch television. So here's what you're doing all day. You're doing this, and watching too.
I have to repeat it again. It's all about this thing.
Turn it right side up, please. Cut it upside down.
So here I would like to mention in this COVID era, because the most of the restaurants, they are closed. So now the people they are cooking themselves. They are dependent for the food on. They are self-dependent now. They are not dependent on the restaurant. Right. So the people, they are not coming to the hospital for other illnesses. So every day we are getting a lot of people with lot of things, but now the people, they are not coming to the hospital. So unnecessarily the people were going to the hospital, or maybe because of a lot of restaurants, a lot of malls, they were open, and because of that they have a lot of illnesses. So if we can close all the restaurants, I think the 50% problem has gone now.
Really? Okay. Well, around here, all the restaurants are closed. So the thing is, but there are some restaurants that actually do have good food. See, there has to be a way that you say, well, the good food restaurants can stay open, and the bad food restaurants,
may not be better than your self-cooked food.
Right.
Self-cooked food is always a fresh. It's a natural and it's healthy.
Agree. Okay. So you think if we just toilet the restaurant industry, we may be better off.
Right? I think. But we should not be consuming all these things, chips and colas and everything.
Yeah, right. Okay, right. In other words, you toilet the restaurant industry, but don't replace it with chips and cola.
Yeah.
No Coca-Cola, baby.
So if we want to address the obesity, we should make awareness policies, and we should prevent the childhood obesity first. If we can train the families, then only we can have a check on the obesity, that is the adult obesity.
Right.
So that starts from our family. So if we can.
But Dr. Saggu, do you know that people watch, especially children, they watch a lot of television on internet, maybe Amazon, Netflix, movie cartoon. And after every cartoon, there is a Coca-Cola or maybe something McDonald's ads around. And
yes.
It's to basically delete or to make them understand that this is not good for health. Mm-hmm. And last week we had Dr. Arthur on our show, and he was saying that he is working with kids, and he's jeopardizing kids not to take all these things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's what he does basically. So he unlearns them while watching the advertisements and commercials on television, and they make people unlearn that this is not good and you have to do these things basically. So how we better that thing? We might can create awareness, but how we can make the mind understand that whatever they're watching, they are all pretend things, and you don't have to take it.
One thing I would like to mention here, that the parents has to take a responsibility for that. We should not keep we should not keeping our children with the screens and doing our jobs. So we should spare some time. We should decrease the screen time of the kids. We have to decrease the screen time, and we should give them time for the real games, not the virtual games on the screens. Yeah. We should send our kids outside in the park. There should be ample space for the sports and everything. So that we have to take a responsibility that the screen time should be very, very low, and there should be a real games, and we should make them aware about the healthy food, about the content of the food, because this is we who serve our children their first meal. So if in the first meal we are going to serve them chips on all this unhealthy food, then they will become a habit for them to take all this food. So this is our responsibility. The parents has to aware all the children about the content of the food, about the etiquettes of the food, about the habits of the meals and everything, about taking about the liquids more, and take more vegetables, take more the salads, and take more proteins. So this is the habit which we are going to build in the children. So we should not be blaming the children for that. We should be blaming ourselves, and we should we should do our responsibility.
Yeah, in order to be self-responsible for that. But when Ankit pointed out, which happens here too, they have the thing called the Cartoon Network here in the U.S. All my grandkids love to watch the Cartoon Network. So, I mean, I get all the networks here. So they watch the Cartoon Network. Next thing comes on, the Ronald McDonald, hey, you got to go to McDonald's and French fries and fried this and fried that. And the grandkids, they do that with all the toys too. Whatever toy, they always say, hey, Grandpa, can you buy me the toy? Hey, Grandpa, let's go to McDonald's. I'm serious.
Yeah.
Because as a young age, they're very impressionable. Okay, so the minute if you want to sell toys to kids, it's real easy. Cartoon, then you put the toy. Okay. Next thing, the grandkids come up to me and go, hey, buy me the toy, Grandpa. And we're like, what? You just saw it on the TV and what? You don't even know what it is. But that's how their thinking process works. So what they do on foods and Coca-Cola and McDonald's and all the fast food industry, they're smart. They know that. So they impress the kids immediately. Here's a cartoon. Here's the fast food. So the kids are associating cartoon with the fast food. You don't see carrots and peas and bananas and fruits and vegetables. Come on, are you kidding me? You know, they don't show, hey, these bananas are healthy for you. Nobody does that. All right. So here's the reality. And you know this, Dr. Saggu. The reality is a major contributor to the coronavirus deaths is the fast food industry. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. And the thing is, there's no paper published on it. There's nobody who's researching it. No one wants to talk about it because what was that thing you showed me up there a while ago on the screen, Ankit? Why won't anyone talk about it? You have this piece of paper you showed me. Okay. They won't talk about it because they reach in their pocket and they go, wait a minute. You're sponsoring our show. So Mr. Palavita, do you really want to talk about this stuff? Because otherwise you see this, it's gone. There you go. He's got the big. I don't carry cash. I carry credit cards. He's got the C note. I'm gonna have to get into those. You know, but the thing is, this influences the media. This influences the media right here, buddy. That's it. And so what happens is they go, well, if we start talking about this, we could lose our advertiser. And so they shut it down.
Yeah. Can we do one thing? Can we do one thing?
You're coming on a show every day. Kids wants to. All the kids have a question to ask. I'll just put up the question on screen. Maybe you can. Can you read the question? Can you read it, Dr. Saggu?
Where is the question?
Can you
there
see
is no vaccine for the virus, which can. So I think it's not full on the screen. Can you read it out for me?
I'll just now. Can you read it? So they want to know the answer from you.
I can help. I can help Dr. Saggu out. I don't know if you heard about that over here. You know. Okay.
There is no vaccine which can be killed by the soap. Yeah,
right. And but the thing is, awareness is, I think, very important. That people do need to be aware that they can do all that they can to prevent the coronavirus from killing them. One thing is to have a healthy lifestyle, which is something that we do not promote here at all. And the other thing is, I've told people to have thermometers and oximeters, to measure your blood oxygen level, and you can buy them off the internet, $29, $39. So you can see if your blood oxygen.
It's not necessary. It is not necessary because before dropping your oxygen saturation, you have a lot of symptoms.
Sure.
Dropping in the oxygen saturation is not a first symptom. So
Yeah,
let
I understand that.
let this job to be done by the hospital workers,
But
not for you.
one problem that the doctors here are seeing is that people will come in and they're basically blue, because their oxygen levels down so low, and they even
So
though
before that, before that you have a breathing problems and a lot of things. Because if you have an oxygen saturation pulse oximeter in your hand, you will keep on measuring your saturation all the time, and that can create a stress on your brain.
Right.
That let me see my saturation. So because before dropping your oxygen saturation, you have a breathing problems. You will have a lot of problems. So that would be alarming for you to go to the hospital.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, that's what they should do. But what happens here, a lot of these people, they go to the hospital way too late, and that's caused very large mortality. But what I look at is you want to do everything you can to lower the possibility of you becoming a mortality statistic. One thing that you can do is you can wear a mask, you can wear gloves, dispose of the gloves. The problem is wearing a glove isn't going to help you. Yes, Ankit.
So, Dr. Saggu, I have one more question. So, suppose if someone is having some symptoms of COVID, okay, and that person is still at home, okay, maybe tested or may not be tested, because if he's tested, then he will be at hospital. And they all are using air condition, maybe split AC or window AC, and you know that air goes out outside, and in India, people live nearby, so that air will cause some kind of problem. What do you think?
So basically, why the air condition is promoting the COVID-19 is by circulating the same air inside the room. So I don't think when the air will go out, this can spread the COVID-19. So its possibility is not there. We don't have enough data to prove that. But yes, because of the air condition within the room, whosoever is present there are chances of infecting other persons also.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
What about airplane travel? Are we going to be able to travel safely on airplanes, Dr. Saggu?
I don't think in the near future we would have a facility to sit in an aeroplane, because I don't think we should open up the international borders very soon. But yes, if it is possible for the air travel to start with, then there should be a lot of guidelines. So this will come with a lot of guidelines. Maybe they will decrease the passengers, counting 50% passengers should be there in the plane, or there should be lot of guidelines. Even then, you cannot have a foolproof, 100% foolproof that you will be saved of the COVID-19 if the person is sitting inside the plane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because what's happened to the airline industry over the last 30 or 40 years, they become profitable by pushing people's seats in, and people are sitting right next to each other. In other words, there is no space. This whole idea of a safe space distance in the airline industry doesn't exist. They cram everybody in like sardines. Are we going to see that they actually start giving more space in airlines, or is this?
But can we also can we have a plastic curtain in between the seats?
They can do the partition in between the rows, but they cannot do the partition in between the seats.
Right.
So they can do it. I mean, they can just create a little more space and then put the curtains in between. That
curtains may act as a fovite. So that curtain may be the vehicle to transfer the COVID-19. So because they are not going to change the curtain at all.
Okay. That might be.
I think the airline industry has.
So this is the same thing, that the person is standing on this coast of the sea and another person standing on other coast. So there is no communication in between. But you give a ship in between and you say, take a COVID from this person to other person. So you are putting a vehicle in between. So I don't think the curtain will work in between the seats.
But Dr. Saggu, in our auto rickshaw and TikTok rickshaws, basically.
Yes, I have seen. I was coming to that point. Yeah.
So I'm not sure how they are doing it. I mean,
no. I mean that is the wrong thing, because in the auto rickshaw, if they are putting a curtain in between the seats, and the owner of the Mahindra has offered him a job for the driver in his big company, so I don't think that was a good idea, and that idea should not be give to whole of the nation. So that may be the bad idea, because you cannot clean. If somebody says you that you have to wash your hands after touching anything, or maybe every hour, so why don't you wash your curtain every hour? And is it practically possible to wash that curtain every hour? I don't think so. So if the persons, they are coming and sitting and they're going, and the next person is coming and they're touching the same curtain, so you are promoting the COVID-19. This is not a good idea.
Wow. No, you're right. What about Uber drivers? Can't you drive taxis and just have a shield between you and the customer and drive a
Yes,
car?
yes, that is for the protection of the driver. They can put a glass over there, and you have to clean the glass with the disinfectant. You have to use a bleaching powder or something else to clean that. Regularly you have to clean, but the cloth you cannot clean. The glass or shield you can clean.
You're right. And then every time a new person comes in, you just have to clean
Yes.
the car, and then you could actually run taxis. So the taxi driver and the Uber driver should be able to go back to work. But the airplanes, the airplanes, I think, have a big problem. So, Ankit, I'm just going to take my private jet over to see you.
Most welcome. Most welcome.
Yeah, take the private jet. One of the companies I work with has 6 private jets, so I was going, well, I'll just get on a private jet to go over there. 20 hours. I tell them, hey, look, it's 20 hours flight. But the regular airline industry is not going to be able to do very much in the near future, right, Dr. Saggu? Are they out of business for the near future? The airline industry?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. So private jet industry would definitely going to have a lot of benefit from this.
Well,
but I think that they might use the current situation of the downfall of crude oil, and I think they can. What do you think? Because crude is already down, so they might be having some advantage at this point in time.
Yeah, crude oil is now has a lot of downfall there, so maybe they have a benefit of that. They have purchased a lot of crude oil.
Yeah.
So
you never know. How it works.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they can reconfigure the jets. In other words, the airplanes. But what's going to happen is the airline prices have to go up.
Yeah, definitely, because the regular planes, they have to shift to their chartered planes now, because the pricing has to be on the higher side.
Right.
Instead of sitting the three travelers, there should be only one traveler. So the one person who is sitting in the plane has to pay for the rest of the 2 also.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I just think.
But I think the airport will have a business. The airports and the drone taxis, I think they will be in business little soon. What do you think, Nick?
I think the airline industry is in serious trouble.
But what about drone taxis? Drone taxis like Uber drone, where they can have 2 people sitting on the drone.
I think taxis will get to go back to business, but 2 industries that are in serious trouble is the airline industry and the restaurant.
Hotel and the tourist industry will definitely have a very much downfall.
Yeah, those industries are really going to suffer until there is a vaccine, which looks like it's another year or so away.
Yeah. Even after the vaccine, also it will take around 12 months to come to the normal life.
Yeah. So Virgin Airlines was looking to get funded, but how many of these airlines are actually just going to go under? In other words, they're not going to be able to make it 2 years without customers. And I have scheduled flights this month. I'm going to have to reschedule them till later on. But even when I reschedule them later on, I'm not sure if the flights are going to go out. And if they do go out, because I have to reschedule for October now, is it going to be safe to even be on the airline?
What about the domestic flights, Nick, in United States? Are they on?
Some are still on, but the thing is, they reduced it to about 80% of them are gone.
Okay.
So we're down to about 20%, and of the 20%, there are very few people on the flights. You'll see an airline take off and only have a couple people on it. It will hold 170 people, 170 or maybe 7 on the flight. It's really, they're really running into serious problems here. And the real problem, Dr. Saggu, that's a problem I don't see how they're going to solve it.
Yeah.
Now testing may be one thing. In other words, you test everybody who goes on the flight.
Yeah. Test and quarantine is must. I think we have a guidelines for the surgeries that we need to get the testing done for each and every patient before taking for the surgery. For the airlines also, they have to do the COVID-19 for each and every traveling through the plane.
Right.
So I think those type of the guidelines should also be there with the aviation industry.
Yeah,
and I also think that there should be one medical staff on the airline itself because a lot of people are traveling. If someone is there on the airline as a medical or maybe a doctor, that should give a lot of relief to the patient.
Yeah, I think with the time we would be having some guidelines for the aviation industry also. The government of India or government of any other countries, they will give the guidelines for them also. So otherwise, there would be a problem with the increasing COVID-19 patients.
Maybe one of the staff would be a medically trained staff, flight steward, or medically trained flight steward with all the certifications. They have a better knowledge managing the patient.
Even Ankit, for this metro to start with, I think they are also coming with the guidelines. They are coming with the strict guidelines that you have to wait at least for an hour before boarding the metro, and for the metro also you should have there should not be any symptoms. You should have a quarantine if you have a symptom. So there would a lot of guidelines would be coming for metro as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I see testing. The only way I can see the airlines getting back is that everybody who boards a plane has to take a COVID-19 test.
Yeah.
Because there's no other way. And they did say that they can have the results back in 5 hours, or something like that. So that they've sped it up. They used to have it would take 15 days. Well, 15 days isn't going to really work. So what they have new tests that have come out, that they take the test in 5 hours or so, they'll have a result. But I think anybody who boards the plane, this is the only way the airlines can get back in the business, is you take the COVID-19 test, you pass the test, then they allow you to board the airplane. Just like I have my TSA certification, so I can go in the fast lane. They're going to have the COVID certification, or you're not going to get on. And this is the only way we're going to get the airlines up and running again. Otherwise, they're basically out of business for several years, which could be a bad thing for the airline industry.
Okay, Nick, Ankit, I will have your leave. I will take your leave now.
Okay, thank you, Doctor.
So much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you for the report. Thank you.
It was quite an interesting thing, Doctor. I was listening to